Now, I don't know about you, but I feel that I know more about Harry Windsor at the end of this week than I do about my own children. And frankly, rather a lot of things I wouldn't ever want to know about my own children. It's actually hard to believe that the Californicated, psycho-babbling navel-gazer was once a bloke tough enough to fly bloomin' helicopters around the desert, shooting his big boy rockets off at baddies hiding in the bushes. If only he'd remained the rebellious prince that we loved, with a twinkle in his eye and a penchant for older women in pub car parks, as we now know. Stop giggling, David Starkey. Today, for the first time, both the king and heir and their spouses were out and about for the first time since the book's release, smiling nicely, waving politely and probably muttering under their breath about amending the coronation guest list. It's not into the breach on horseback for this Harry, it's into the media circuit. Because that's it, isn't it? Harry has become that which he purported for so long to have hated, a muck-raking scribbler with one eye and a punchy pull quote. Leaving behind a majestic institution and a life of stoic commitment to service and duty, the future in front of him is one of shallow likes, clicks, publishing deals, views, and engagement with fans alongside his lived experience. Considering that he's frothing with hatred for journalists, and given his mother's death, that is at least understandable, he's done journalism no end of favours this week with the amount of content that he's generated. He is the editor's gift that keeps on giving. We here at GB Towers thought there was something tragic, something classically prophetic even, about this paradoxical turn of events. Did Harry's story have the dignity and weight of Sophocles' two brothers fighting over the throne of Thebes? Perhaps Octavia's divorce from Nero? A quote sprung to mind. "You have become the very thing you sought to destroy." What was that? Shakespeare? Iliad? No! A light bulb moment. Obi-Wan Kenobi to Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. All that fixation on pent-up maternal energy turning him into one of the villains that he swore he'd always fight against. And now it's reported that when it comes to the coronation, Harry and Meghan will be NFI, not flipping invited. The risk just isn't worth it for the firm. He's too good at the job of being a journalist with an eye for a good story. In fact, he's probably become the best-paid journalist of all time. Parallels, of course, are drawn with Edward VIII, the last lovesick puppy to turn his back on the monarchy, who had to watch the late Queen's big day on the telly in Paris with his American actress, Mrs. Now it will be the same for Harry, except he'll most likely be in LA with Meghan and his echo chamber acolytes, telling him that none of this is his fault and perpetuating the victim mindset, which nobody seems willing to shake him out of. But then monetising his trauma is proving very profitable. As my next guest has said, Harry could learn a thing or two from those taking part in the Invictus Games. His, which he established brilliantly, although one might reasonably ask if he's now turned them into potential terrorist targets with his Taliban kill count boasts. Those veterans haven't embraced victim status, despite suffering life-changing injuries in the line of duty. And never hoping to earn a fraction of what the Duke has been bringing in recently, they refuse to be branded perma-victims and offer inspiration for the rest of us whenever we suffer loss and setbacks in our lives. Harry's message, on the other hand, is that when bad things happen, it is always someone else's fault. His inability to look in the mirror of his own fairy tale and take responsibility for his actions is surely his fatal flaw.